Welcome. My name is Craig Otto. Again, this is the third part to the Principles of Balanced Living. This is PE 103, the Personal Improvement Plan. Now, up until this point, in the first part of this series, we talked about the importance of perceptions and paradigms, and sometimes we need to change our perceptions and paradigms to be more of principle-centered. And the second part of the session, we talked about the four gifts that we have, the four parts to our nature as human beings, and that being our mind, body, heart, and soul. The third part is about how do you take those things and improve upon them? What is the mechanism that you need to use to have a personal improvement plan? And that's what we're here to learn about. It's actually called, this personal improvement plan is called A3 thinking. Now, of course, I'm sure you're asking yourself, what is A3 thinking? Well, in the manufacturing world, Toyota was able to, they sort of invented this method. It's actually a way to solve problems. And you can actually use this in life, too, to help solve your problems. And that's why I'm explaining it to you. The term A3 actually came from, it's just a European size for paper. It's 11 by 17 paper. The reason you want a bigger size of paper is to fit all of the process on the one sheet of paper, so you're not having multiple sheets or having it get drawn out or something to that effect. And this process is a step-by-step approach. And it breaks it down real easy. You try to distill your thoughts in the boxes that are provided. And at a basic level, at the bottom right of your screen, you'll be able to see what that basic level is. Number one, first of all, you have to know what your initial state is. What's going on right now with my life or with the problem that I have, and document it with data. The second part of that is, where do I want to get to? What does good look like? Our target state. The third part looks at, okay, I have an initial state and I have a target state. What's the gap between those? What am I missing? What am I not doing? And then the last part is, what are the rapid experiments that I need to try in order to close the gap between my initial state and target state? That's what it is at the most basic level. Now, there's more in-depth levels that actually has 9 boxes that you see in the example above. This is one that we use in manufacturing, but also I've used this for personal issues in my life. And it's nice because it is step-by-step. You work by consensus if you're working with a group of people. It's a way to distill your thoughts and fit them into each box. You capture the essence of what your issue is. And it's a way to tell a story where no one else has to interpret it. Even if it's yourself, sometimes we do personal A3s that are just meant for us and our eyes only. And when you go back a few years later, sometimes it's hard to remember, what was my issues at that time and what did I do to resolve it. And that's why it's important to document it so that it's like a story without the need for interpretation, so you can go back and learn from it several years down the road. Some other strengths of this A3 thinking or personal improvement plan is it is an improvement mechanism. So many times we try to make improvements, but we don't know how. And that's what's nice about the A3. It gives you a step-by-step approach. And when it's done properly, it's a very powerful tool. It forces consensus building when you're working in groups. It unifies the culture around a simple, systematic methodology. And yeah, if you're using it on a personal level, this point may not be as valuable, but if you start using it within your family, and if you start using it at work, it becomes a simple way for everyone to stay on the same page, and everyone uses the same way to make improvements, which of course will help with the communication. If everyone's communicating the same way, it follows the logical narrative, you're going to get some consistent results and some consistent communication, which enables the opportunity for synergy to take place. It can be used for individuals or teams, like I said, and it does tell a story. It's kind of like a storyboard for a film. Now, some of the opportunities for A3 thinking, I've said earlier that you can use it for problem solving at work or anything like that, but I want to break it down on a personal level, what you can actually use it for. And I put in there 4 different capacities of a person. Your physical, let's say you want to improve your weight. You want to lose some weight. You could use an A3 for this. If you wanted to improve at a sport, you know, how many times have coaches just given up and only worked with the most talented athletes and gave up on some of the not so talented athletes? What a way to take some of the not so talented athletes, give them 2 or 3 things that they need to work on through this A3 process, and then they get better. And all of a sudden they become no longer untalented athletes, they become talented. And then they can start playing roles on the team, and they get better and better. So it's a good way to use A3 thinking in sports. Intellectually, you can use it for developing your children. Education-wise, if your children are in school, or even if you're a parent going back to school to get some college courses in, you can use it to help improve your education process, improve your grades. What are the specific things that you need to do in order to get your grades up? It helps you set up the plan to do that. Emotionally, maybe you need to work with your spouse on improving your relationship. And maybe you need to work on some of the relationships within your family. Maybe you need to work on relationships with your friends. Maybe you want to improve your friendship. Maybe you want to be a better friend. What are the things you need to change in order to be a better friend? And then spiritually, maybe there's a religious reason that you want to use the A3 to improve upon. You bring it to church. You sit down and you listen. What's the one thing that you could do this week that'll help you be a better person? Document on your A3 at church. And service-wise, what are the things that you need to do to contribute to life, to have service in life? Document it through the A3 process. Set up a plan. Here's an example of one that I personally did back in 2005. I was 230 pounds and very unhappy with myself. That's my initial state. My target state, I wanted to get back down to 205 pounds in 2 years. So 25 pounds, that's a pretty good loss for 2 years. Not real aggressive, but it was doable. So I did it. I actually went in, documented my gaps, what actually caused my weight gain, and what did I need to do to change that. And actually I found out that fast food and pop makes a huge difference in your weight. And I cut those out as sort of my rapid experiment and was able to lose, went all the way down to 200 pounds. And I didn't really want to be at 200. I really wanted to be at 205. So kind of went back up a little bit to around 205, and I've been there ever since to this point in time, which now it's 2011. So you can see it can help you in the long term. It helps you stay on track. And some of the experiments I did was I weighed myself every day to make sure that I didn't increase my weight. And I still do that to this day. So it helps me change my behaviors as well and improve my behaviors. I use this to help develop my children. The initial state, a lot of people, we have nurture and nature and world influences around them that it makes it challenging to raise them with the moral values that you expect, with the paradigms that you expect. And to me, my target state for them, I want them to be the best versions of themselves. It's as simple as that. Well, what do I need to do to get there? I need to help them focus on mind, body, heart, and soul. What are the things that they need to do to help improve their themselves in those 4 capacities? And then rapid experiments, I let them lead. I let them choose where they want to eat. I let them choose when they want to clean their rooms and how they are going to do it. I give them responsibility, and that's something at a young age, if you can instill that in them, responsibility and doing the right things, becoming the best versions of themselves, that's going to help them tremendously in the long run. And then all the outside influences, the world influences, they don't really matter because they've already been instilled with the right things. Now, this is my favorite part of the class. I'm going to help you create your own A3. And basically, I'm going to leave it up to you on what you want to talk about or what you want to improve upon. And the way we're going to do this is I'm going to use a 9-box approach, and we're going to tell your story from beginning to end. And it's going to talk about the first 3 boxes will kind of be the beginning of the story, where you go through the issues to be addressed in your current state and desired state. Then I'm going to get into the middle of the story, which is about your gap analysis, your improvement approach, your trials and experiments to be completed. And then the end is about what is your action plan for achieving the desired state? What is your confirmed state? In other words, how are you doing, over time, where you monitor? And then your lessons learned. What did you learn from doing this process? Go ahead and take some time now and fill in the A3 title information. You can actually, where it says event title description, you can put your name in there and just call it your PIP for your personal improvement plan. Your sponsor, Gobi LLC, is gladly sponsoring you to become the best version of yourself. The date today, which would be your event start date, and then the date that you plan to status how you're doing. And if you're not sure what that is, then just leave it blank for now. And then towards the bottom, list any team members that you'll have as part of your personal improvement plan. Maybe it's just yourself, but maybe you'd like to add your wife, your husband, your kids, a friend, whatever it may be, a coworker. Don't be afraid to add them in. And then site, what I want you to put under site, that's actually going to be sort of your mission statement. So for me, it's the best version of myself. And then the end date, for now, we'll just kind of, it's under location, we'll leave that to be determined. And then your facilitator, which in this case would be Craig Otto, or if you're working with my associate, Kim Leopold. So I'll give you some time to fill that out.